to use it as a supplementary material, Francisco? I'm wondering. Don't worry, Francisco, don't be on the pressure. Yadira and I were waiting for your answer. Ah, very good. Cut it down. Yeah, maybe that's why. I have never tried to them to cut it down, only with magazines because they are more colorful and things like that. Very good, Francisco. You gave me a nice idea that I will probably pick from you. Okay. I normally use it with Yadira. Yes, that's creative, right? Very creative. I know now why you get good answers in your sample tests. Okay, very good. So now let's continue. Um, as Francisco said, there are some advantages and disadvantages of this extra material. Okay, so for example, in the case of Francisco, newspaper is useful, but in my case, as I didn't know how to adapt it, it wasn't that useful. Okay, so in this case, there are some supplementary materials that really help and some others that don't help that much. Okay, so now let's see at this chart some advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so for example, class library of readers. What is a class library of readers? Well, basically, it's a class in which we are like like café literario, something like that, in which we only get into reading stuff. Okay, and we provide with different books, and each class we have a different book to read. Okay, so that's a class library of readers. Okay, so in this case, what is one of the advantages? That you can encourage extensive reading for pleasure, gives learners confidence, and allow learners to choose. Okay, so if you have your library over there in the same classroom, and you say, okay, today we're going to be focused on reading, and they pick up the books that they want and they practice, that's a good thing, right? Having books from different sizes, from different types, that's very useful. What are some disadvantages? For example, need of range of levels to suit difficult learners content may not motivate them for older learners. Okay, so imagine that you have for children, that's okay, for young adults even, but imagine for adults, maybe if the level, or for high school students, if the book is not very, or if the books are not really suitable for their age, maybe they will get bored, right? So that's one of the disadvantages that you cannot control. If you can have books from any age, that will be awesome, but you know that books are also expensive, right? Okay, another thing is skills practice books. Okay, so what is one of the advantages for giving them some books that so that they can practice skills? Obviously that they can focus in their individual skills. So maybe you are looking that your students are good at writing, but maybe they are not good at listening. So maybe you can practice with them more listening and do the activities and so on. Okay, but for example, one disadvantage is that may not fit course book syllabus. Okay, so maybe the listening that you're providing them, you're watching future tenses, will be going to present continuous, but maybe those don't match with the listening, and maybe students can even get more confused. Now, another supplementary material, for example, is the teacher resource books, downloadable worksheets, okay? Giving them worksheets with extra words. This is very nice and it helps me a lot. Okay, so why? Because one of the advantages is that it gives new ideas for lessons. Okay, but another disadvantage is that one more time they cannot suit the lesson aims. So you want them maybe to know the differences between regular and irregular verbs. And you have a worksheet, but this worksheet doesn't mark the differences. It just provides like the rules and that's it. So you wanted them to watch at the differences, but they only see the uses. Okay, so or sorry, or you just give them the grammar, the structure. Maybe this is not useful for what you want them to teach. Okay, websites, you know that it has a big disadvantages, that is varied lesson plans, teaching materials, and other resources. Okay, you know that websites, they can use it, they can be independent at the same time, but at the same time we have disadvantages. For example, sometimes it's difficult to find the right material for the learners at school, may not have enough computer station, learners may not have computer skills. So that's another problem, right? You don't even know if your students have computer and internet at home. So you just tell, okay, go to the link and open it and do these activities. And that's it, because that's why required. But we never ask them if they have internet, if they have a computer, or maybe they do have it, but they are not very keen on using the computer. Maybe they have still some problems. Okay, DVDs. Okay, it is useful because they provide the visual context, source of cultural information, show body language at the same time. Okay, so they also want to watch videos, right? So DVDs with movies or with scenes, they can watch them and be in a context apart from the classroom. That's cool. But one of these disadvantages is that, for example, equipment may not always be available. That's a big problem, right? Especially for, government schools, that sometimes you need to ask for the projector, you need to ask for the DVD, the television, the room is not available, etc., right? Or language may not be graded suitable for the level of the learners. So in this case, basically it's an hour that you will lose talking about assessment, because how you are going to be evaluate that? Maybe you can ask them to write a resume or a summary of the video, right, of the DVD. But anyway, they can do it without really paying attention to the DVD. Maybe they have already seen the video. Okay. Also, we can have language practice books. It is good because obviously it will give them extra practice. Okay, learners can work alone at home without any teacher's help. Okay, but what is one of the disadvantages? Maybe they have repetitive, okay, or little or no context. Okay, so they are repetitive exercises according to the course book. Or maybe, as it says, they don't have context, so the teachers just complete it without understanding it, so without any motion. Okay. Another way is for electronic materials. Okay, all the kind of electronic materials are good because they motivate the students. Okay, and they make students to be familiarized with technology. Okay, but it's difficult because you cannot control how learners are working. Okay, there is no human feedback. They are completing exercises, but you are not there for helping them or to look that they are doing the correct thing. Okay, or another way, and especially for children, games. Okay, why? Because this is enjoyable and they can enjoy the language practice. Okay, but another disadvantage, maybe it's not good for older learners, like adults don't really like to play. Okay, and preparation may take a long time. Okay, so games are difficult to prepare. You need to prepare material, worksheets, flashcards, prepare instructions so that they can understand you. Okay, and also, classroom management may be complicated, especially for children. I don't like to do games with them because whenever I do a game, it's a mess. Everybody's clapping, everybody's shouting. You say, don't pass this line, and they pass it. They don't pay attention to you. I have lots of problems with classroom management when I do games. I don't know if it's the same for you teachers. Maybe you are more experienced than I am with young students, but I have lots of problems with gaming. Francisco, maybe you can give me a tip this time. Okay, so tell me, teachers, do you have a question about disadvantages or disadvantages? Because you will be asked in the real test about this, about supplementary materials and what is good in them, and but also what is bad according to them. So tell me, Francisco, Yadira, no problems, no questions. Do you want me to repeat? You know that these are just examples. There are more and more supplementary materials. We're going to be talking about them today. Mhm. That's okay for you, Yadira. Thank you. I think most of us have faced with some of these problems, right? But also with some of these advantages, right? That's okay. Okay, very good. If there is no question, that's the end of this unit of this part. So let's go with the sample test. In this case, I didn't bring any extra material. I think it's a very easy topic, and it's more than that, it's more experimental. This is not like very theoretical. It's what you can remember, and remember to find these keywords. Okay, so there is not much to think, it's much to analyze. Okay, so I'm gonna read instructions and let me know if you have a question. Okay, for questions from 1 to 7, match the supplementary materials with the teacher's comments listed in A from A to H. Be careful because there is one extra option which you don't need to use. Okay, so here we have teacher comments. Remember that is what the teachers think. Okay, for example, I can use it to test the meaning of vocabulary in an enjoyable way. So remember keywords. You have two things, you have two keywords. You have teaching vocabulary and enjoyable way. So what of these things match with this description? Okay, which is related to vocabulary and enjoyable. Okay, so this is what you're going to do, teachers. You're going to match them. Just be careful. You have 8 options and you have only 7 sentences. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more time 10 minutes to do it. If you finish earlier, please let me know. So start now. Okay, teachers, I just want to inform you that it's time. So I hope you're done. If you can change your answers, that will be nice too. Okay, thank you, Yadira. Thank you for your answers. So I'm gonna wait for Francisco's once and was it difficult? Yes, I know, right? Because it has like many keywords, I think. Yeah, and as I told you, this is very perceptive. Like okay, I can teach you advantages, disadvantages, I can teach you what I mean, but in the end, it's also your perception of this material. So I think this is one of the hardest part. Mm-hmm. So let's check. I think you have pretty similar answers, but anyway, we're gonna check them. In number one, you have C. So I think like maybe you are right. You both are right. You cannot be wrong. In number two, you have a different one. You have A, Francisco, and I think Yadira, you have F, right? Hold on, it's because no, sorry, Yadira, you have A. No, yes, you have F, Yadira. Yes, F, right? It's because yeah, that's it. Okay, so you have F, Yadira. So let's check. It says number two, a website that helps the teachers make quizzes. Remember, this is for teachers to make quizzes. So in your case, Francisco, you say, I can use it to test the meaning of vocabulary in an enjoyable way. Could be. And Yadira says F, my students can choose their own exercise and check their answers. So I think both of them, right? Because it doesn't have like much context. But I think in this case, as you are creating the quizzes, I will go more for A in this case for Francisco's answer. If those were the answers, I will go more with A because it says that because you are creating them, so you decide when and how to apply them. But anyway, we will check for Cambridge answers. Number three, you have G Yadira, and you have H Francisco. So number three, it says a book of fluency activities. Remember, fluency has to do with volume, with the words and everything. So in this case, you say G. It helps me my visual learners when we're learning new vocabulary. Could be. Although fluency doesn't have much to do with visual. It's more for speaking, so it will be more for auditive students. It's full of ideas for discussion. That's I will decide one because as it says discussions, you want your students to speak. Okay, so maybe with discussions they can develop that activity. For you both, number four is E, so I think that is correct. Number five, you chose A, I think, Yadira. Yes, A, and Francisco chose B. Okay, so number five, I've booked practicing phonemes. So it's really useful because there is no focus on problem sounds in my course book. So I think I will go more for B in this case. We have already checked A. Remember, phoneme, Yadira, has to do with phonetics and phonology, with the pronunciation of the words. So maybe I will go more for Francisco's answers this time. Number six is letter D, according to you both. So I know that maybe it is correct because we're talking about easier or difficult for them. And finally, seven, it's F for you, Francisco, and B for you, Yadira. Okay, a city room of reading text and tasks. It is my students can choose their own exercises and check their answers. Yes, I think I would go more for this one, but you wrote B, Yadira. It's really useful when there is no problem sounds in my course book. No, in this case, you know what? What is the problem, Yadira? Sounds. and sounds have to do with phonemes. So don't worry, I'm going to show you the answers and then we're going to make our own conclusions, our own analysis. So number one, it's C, correct. Number two, it's A in this case as Francisco's answer. Number three is H. One more time, Francisco's answers. Number four is E. Correct you both. Congratulations. Number five is B. Excellent. And number six is D. Okay, so both of you are correct. Congratulations. And finally, seven is F. As I told you, Yadira, the problem here was the keyword sounds. Okay, so questions or problems about this exercise. I know it was difficult. I know many of them could match in reality with the teacher comments, but well, this is the activity. I think you got good results, Yadira. Even though, as I told you, you haven't been in the classes, you are doing very, very well. In your case, Francisco, well, I think we have some. I need to congratulate you, Francisco, because you did very well. You had a perfect mark this time. So I hope you feel happy, Francisco. But tell me, teachers, do you have a question or a doubt about this topic or something that in this case, I cannot provide you many things because the teacher's comments change a lot in this test. This is your practice. I hope most of these are coming in your real test, but we don't know. In this case, it's very open. It's really open. I cannot help you that much. No questions for now. Thank you, Yadira. Okay. Now, let's go with the last topic then for this module 2. Yes, Francisco, I will try to look for more exercises, or maybe I can provide you the link because remember that there are some problems with downloading the PDFs. Yes, Francisco, that's going to be my homework. I'm going to provide you more with this topic. So just let me give you some time so that I can, maybe tonight, I'm going to be uploading them. Okay, I will try to search some of them on the internet. I have a book which is related, but I need to adapt it. So let me think. Let me see. Okay, but yes, of course, I can provide you with more exercising. Okay. Now, thank you for um, asking me and all this stuff. Okay, so let's go with the final part of module 2. Okay, that is called selecting and use of teaching aids. Okay, we have already checked extra materials, materials that help us for giving them more than just the course book. Okay, so now how we can select all these materials, what do we need to do in order to select them? And in this case, we're going to see some of these in a deeper way. Okay, so first of all, teaching aids are the resources and equipment available to us in the classroom, as well as the resources we can bring into the classroom. For example, whiteboards, computers, CD players, DVD players, and overhead projectors, which are called better OHPS, the normal projectors, okay? Which means equipment with a light and it can make images appear larger on the screen. So you know what a projector is, right? So in this case, teaching aids, it's more than extra material. Teaching aids, it's also what you can take advantage in the classroom. So maybe in the classroom you have your posters, right? Maybe so you can take advantage of those posters, the whiteboards, the type recorders. So everything that you can have in the classroom can be part of teaching aids. Okay, we have also at the same time visual aids, for example, pictures or realia, right? Like realia is talking about magazines, newspapers, something that is authentic. Okay, very good. So these are teaching aids. Now we are not just going to talk about extra material. We're just going to talk also about material that are in the same classroom. Okay, teaching aids. So let's look at this classroom equipment and their teaching purposes. So you know that each material, each equipment has their own purpose. Okay, can you think of other? I'm gonna let you teachers to think about this, and later on, after I finish explaining this chart, I want you to give me more classroom equipment and possible purposes. Okay, so for example, board. The teaching purpose for board is obviously writing up planned vocabulary, grammar, examples, and explanations. Okay, we normally as teachers use boards to write, right? To give them the vocabulary, examples, explain. Mhm. The overhead projector, OHP, okay, well, the teaching purpose mainly is to displaying prepared exercise on overhead transparencies, OHTS, which are plastic sheets. Okay, so we normally use this projector to make bigger, right? Like pictures and everything. So that you can in from prepared exercises or maybe also explanations, right? CD player, well, for listening practice. You use it just for practice listening. DVD player for listening practice with added visual information. So now you can also, the same time they are practicing their listening, they are watching, right? Computer, well, for grammar exercises, for example. You can use it for that. Okay, language laboratory for grammar drills. You know what is a language laboratory? I used to have one in my faculty when I was studying the degree. Okay, in this is a laboratory is like kind of a room in which you have like some glasses or something, maybe it can be wood, and you are alone. You have like a type recorder or you have like a computer or a CD recorder. You just put it there and you start listening and you practice your listening. So in this case, reels, remember, is to answering the what you're hearing. So somehow you're doing some drilling with me in this class. Mhm. Or also self-access center. Okay, you know, I used to have one too in my faculty. Okay, and remember that the teaching purposes have extra work to do independently, right? You just go to the self-access, you say, oh, I want to watch a movie. So you go to the self-access, I want to read a book. So you go and you choose the best book. It's like a library or something like that, but talking about languages. Okay, so here are some examples of classroom equipment. Obviously, this is not all. There are many classroom equipment and they have their own teaching purposes. So tell me, teachers, I have already left you some time to tell me another classroom equipment and its propose or proposes. Can you think of another one? Like, remember, you don't need to be experts to explain it. Just tell me another classroom equipment and teaching purpose. I want to read you. So tell me, teachers, another classroom equipment that comes to your mind in this moment, and what will be the teacher propose? Web 2.0. What is that, Francisco? I think it's just web. Internet. I'm sorry, Francisco. I don't know many of these register words. The internet. Okay, what is the purpose of the internet? Nothing comes to your mind, Yadira. Think of something that you use, that you have in the classroom, or that you bring it to your students. Yes, flashcards or flip charts. Okay, so tell me, what about flip charts? About the charts. Tell me, what would be that one purpose of charts? And you too, Francisco, tell me what purpose of internet? There are many, maybe, but just tell me one. Yes, Yadira, sorry. Can you tell me, you say about flip charts. So can you tell me one teaching purpose for charts, for flip charts? Okay, what do you think those are useful for the students? For practicing listening, for doing grammar exercise? So what do you think these flip charts will be useful for the students? What the purpose of this? Francisco is typing about the purpose of internet. Uh-huh. It gives us all resources before to investigate or practice or get better skills. Excellent, Francisco. I like your explanation, right? So it is a provider, right? It provides resources for practicing, for investigating, for everything in order your students to learn, right? Excellent, Francisco. Yadira, you're saying that flip charts are helping us to learn keywords in vocabulary or learning grammar rules. Excellent, Yadira. You can teach vocabulary or grammar rules, and one another thing is that it's a visual aid because students can watch it every time. You can stick it on the board and or on the wall, and then they are continuously seeing it, right? Excellent, very good. And that's a problem, right? Because they can have different purposes. There is not just one purpose per each of these extra aids. Okay, for example, board. Okay, here is a list of all the board purposes that it can have. For example, recording words and idea that come up during the lesson. Okay, so you just write the words of the things that are coming during the session, drawing or display pictures, building up ideas in diagrams, word maps, mind maps, diagrams showing vocabulary or the same topic, etc. For learners to write answers, ideas for closed class or compositions, etc. So a board is not only for writing, right? It's for writing, but it has some specific purposes. Okay, or for example, the DVD player. Okay, information gap activity, so you can give them like some sentences and they can fill the gaps according to what they see or what they watch. Okay, or for example, viewing without sounds and guessing the language, pausing and predicting the language, saying what you think is coming next with a camera filming learners performance, so they can even watch and film themselves. You see, it's not only like for listening and watch. You can have many activities, many purposes for a DVD player. Overhead projector. You can also have displaying results of group work, building up information by putting one transparency on top of another, covering up and gradually uncovering parts of the transparency, displaying pictures and diagrams. I will add, for example, making an exposition, right? Many students tend to use these projectors for giving expositions. So it has many other purposes. A computer, computer is like the best of the best nowadays, right? You can have narrative building with a word processor, supplementary materials of course books, online tests, using online dictionaries, using CD rooms and DVD rooms, email exchanges, online communication, which is chatting, online newspapers and magazines, projects, work using the internet, viewing and uploading material on the internet, etc., right? CD player, for example, presenting new language dialogues and stories, giving models for pronunciation, practice, recording learners or performance, listening for pleasure, etc. Okay, so CD player is not compulsory for like teaching them all the time. You can also use it for listening to songs and things like that. Language laboratory, pronunciation practice, extensive listening, monitoring individual learners, developing speaking skills, etc. So as you can see, and these are just examples. There are many aids that have different purposes. Okay, so one more time, teachers, I am trying to give you all of it. I am trying to explain it as much as I can, but in the real test, maybe you are not going to have a computer there. Maybe you're going to have more aids, like the flip charts, maybe. So Okay, so let's continue analyzing. Okay, so we can also have other teaching aids like realia. Okay, you know that realia help us to have more and more about real things. Okay, so those are basically real objects we can easily bring into the classroom that can be used to teach vocabulary as prompts for practicing grammatical structures or for building dialogues and narratives. For games and quizzes, those are real texts such as menus, timetables, leaflets, etc. Okay, so I have a picture here. As you can see, we have some magazines, we have some translators, we have some newspapers, CDs, and the other materials. I don't know why they are there, but that's basically realia is something that you can take with you, which is real. So, for example, in my case, what my students really like is that I provide the maps for every single trip that I have made. So I give them the maps, and for example, when we're practicing giving directions, they use them, but with real maps from different places, from Mexico, from Europe, and so on. Okay, so that's really motivating for them. Okay, another material, for example, are flashcards, especially for you teachers. Okay, you know that they can be used to teach individual words or as prompts for practicing grammatical structures. Okay, so for example, in this case, we have some prompts. Let's say, wake up, get dressed, do my homework. So I'm not only teaching the verb do, I am teaching it the use like do my homework. Okay, so flashcards are very useful and especially for children. Okay, puppets. Okay, I normally don't use them. I have used them, but you know it's very time consuming to create them and to teach us with them. Okay, so for example, they are excellent resources for teaching young learners. For example, we can introduce new language in dialogues between pairs of puppets. So that's so nice. I don't know if you have used them, teachers. I hope you have. They are really nice, although they are very time consuming. Charts, as Yadira was saying, charts are good. Okay, we can use posters or and wall charts to display larger, more detailed pictures or a series of pictures telling a story or showing related objects in a lexical set. A phonemic chart, for example, in your case, teachers, shows the phonemic symbols and the positions in the mouth where the different sounds are made, for example. Okay, so in your case, teachers, if you can have this chart on your room in your room with the phonemes and everything, it will be very nice. Okay, so for example, here we have the job chart, we have the names, and we have like the kind of job. For example, we have a trash collector, computer helper, etc. And your students, maybe you write the names of the students and they have something to do. So charts are very useful. And finally, guess what? We are aides. We, the teachers, we are aides at the same time. Why? Because we use hand gestures, facial expression, we mime, we elicit vocabulary items, we clarify meanings, create context, etc. So somehow we are resources for them. We are kind of aids for the students for them to learn, right? There won't be any pop-ups if teachers don't make it, right? Or there won't be any reality in the classroom if teachers don't bring it. You see? So we are somehow another aid. Okay? So tell me, teachers, questions or problems about aids, about their purposes. No questions, Yadira? Very good, Yadira. You are getting the point. Excellent, Yadira. Congratulations. Francisco, what about you? No, now? Okay, so to finish today's class, we're going to do the sorry, no, before the sample test, we're going to do an extra activity. In this case, this is not for evaluation, this is for you to analyze. Okay, so I'm going to read the sentence. Complete the following comments from teachers about classroom aids using the words in the box below. Okay, so here we have the words that they are at the end. So be careful, they are not at the beginning, they are at the end. These words: board, flashcard, internet, language laboratory, OHP, realia, and DVDs. Okay, so and we have the sentences from 1 to 7. Okay, for example, I like using the, and we have a gap, because it gives all the students a chance to practice their pronunciation, listen to their own voices, and improve their pronunciation. So decide which one of those goes and fits perfectly in number one, and so on until the seven. Okay, teachers? So I'm gonna give you 10 minutes maximum one more time, and this is going to be our last activity. 10 minutes one more time to finish this activity. So go ahead. If you finish earlier, better, because then we can finish earlier. Okay, go ahead. Good luck, teachers. If you have a question, let me know, please. Start now. Oh la la, very good, Yadira. I think you want to finish the class earlier. Nah, just kidding. Excellent, excellent. I like your answers. OHP. Okay. Realia. Good. Flashcards. Yes, I have already explained it, right? Maybe that's why. So let's wait just for Francisco's answers. OHP. I think you have the same ones. So I don't think you both are incorrect. I'm sure you all are correct, and that's it. Okay. So the first one is language laboratory. OHP, it is talking about projecting answers. Realia, like as I told you, like giving things like from restaurant, hotels. Okay, number four, flashcards or Realia one more time, but it's more flashcards, obviously. Board, because it's for listening the vocabulary that you keep them on the board. The DVDs, okay, because you give them chance to observe, and obviously the internet for researching, right? As Francisco said, internet is for searching, for investigating, and everything. Okay, excellent, teachers. No problems with this topic. You are masters at this. So next class we're going to do very very quickly, so please try to be on time. I know that maybe you are very very busy, but let's try to be on time next class so that we finish with the sample test. And next class, we're going to be starting with module number 3. Okay, so get ready for it. Module number 3. It's going to be over in less than 1 week. Remember, the classes are finishing April 11th. It's a Wednesday. So I will need to do it very, very quickly so that we can finish all the topics and you can have at least an idea of the TKT, and you can have, obviously, you have decided to do it as soon as possible. Okay, so thank you for being with me. Thank you for working this time. Don't forget to watch the videos. Don't forget to do the sample test for module 1 because sample test module 2 is coming in Wednesday. Okay, so on Wednesday this is coming, so get ready for it. Francisco, Yadira, have you done your sample test of module 1? No, Francisco, have you done it? Let's be honest. Don't lie to me. Don't worry. Try to do it between today and tomorrow if you haven't, so that on Wednesday, before we pass to module 3 or before I send you the module 2 sample test, you can tell me if you have a doubt, if you have a question about one of the I don't know, the questions in this case, one of the statements, so that we can check it before we finish. Excellent, Francisco. So congratulate you. The answers are there. I have posted the link in Edmodo. So look for it and watch the answers. And I hope and I know that you did it very well, but I also hope you did it too. Okay. So thank you very much, teachers. See you on Wednesday from 6 to 8. It's the same hour, the same channel, the same teacher. See you. Have a nice evening. Get rest. Goodbye. Thank you very much for being with me today. Bye. Thank you, Yadira. Bye.